Vault Veritas SCP Files. Episode 8 Isolation. I still don't feel well following my chat with Miranda. Sorry, Dr. Sterling. I still have so many questions, but I'm starting to learn that maybe seeking the answers to them isn't the best idea. I wish Niall were here. I miss his visits. He was so friendly comparatively. I haven't heard anything from him, or this Merryweather he keeps talking about. No idea what they're up to, but it would be nice to hear from them. It's so quiet here. I've been thinking about what Dr. Sterling said. That I've been getting through the reports slowly. She isn't wrong. I've been avoiding them. But I've also been reflecting, and this job seems a lot better than what most people at the Foundation have. Dealing with the anomalies directly must be so... God. Is that what I used to do? I've been looking for a report that seems manageable, but they all look so awful. I suppose I'd better just pick one. Here. This one will do. Incident 451-02. Second known incident involving SCP-451, colloquially known as Mr. Lonely. Object class, Euclid. Risk assessment level, low. Reported by Security Officer Valerie Mora. Report made August 8th. The year is redacted, though it begins with a 20. I suppose this isn't really an incident, but I've been asked to report it nonetheless. I guess having the slightest feeling other than complete neutrality counts as an incident these days. They're probably going to write me up, or give a disciplinary slip or whatever, but that's fine. Any real human interaction, positive or negative, is so rare. I find myself actually hoping for a reprimand. Is that strange? I never really minded being alone before. Sure, there were always those pangs of boredom that you knew a friend could probably relieve. But it was never anything more than that. I was an only child growing up, and my parents both worked more than they were home. I got really good at entertaining myself. Pop a Hot Pocket in the microwave, grab my favorite book, and it didn't matter anymore that the house was still. The silence even helped me get lost in all my stories. When I finally entered the real world, it was so loud. There's too many people these days, don't you reckon? The streets are packed full of cars, sometimes sitting bumper to bumper. And the cities are always filled with pedestrians. There's honking, and sirens, and chatting, and laughter. And sometimes you just want some peace and quiet. But if you go out into the suburbs, suddenly there's nowhere to work, and everything is so far away. Working for the Foundation just seemed like the logical choice. Security has its moments of intense noise and rushing people, but most of the time it's pretty boring. Plenty of long stretches of quiet, where the most you have to do is watch a camera or keep an eye on a D class. I've gotten very good at that sort of multitasking, watching a camera while I'm far, far away in my mind, inside some quiet world that only I know about. So you'd think 451 would be the perfect assignment for me, right? I sure thought so. Mr. Lonely. He can't even interact with us, so there's a lot of silence. Plenty of time to be in my own head and still get paid. Just now, I almost wrote a sentence starting with, "When I first met 451." But that wouldn't do at all. I've never met him because he can't perceive us. Mr. Lonely has no perception of the presence or actions of any human beings. To him, he's the only person left alive. He killed the entirety of humanity and is the sole remaining person, alive in an empty world of absolute quiet. I used to think that's what I wanted. Not to kill everyone, of course, but for all others to simply disappear and just let me have my space. I thought it would be perfect. Nobody to interrupt my reading, no bosses to hold me to a work schedule, or D classes to resist basic instructions. I used to fantasize about it. Just me and peace and all the time in the world. But watching your fantasy become a reality like that. Every morning, Mr. Lonely wakes up, and those first few seconds in between dream and wakefulness is the most calm he ever gets in a day. Then the realization sets in that he is the only person in the world, and this look of abject terror crosses over his face. He caves in on himself. Some days, he curls back up into his bed and just stays there, blank-faced, for hours. Some days he can pull himself up with a long, suffering sigh. All the while, we stand there with him, me and the other security guard, and we watch over him. But he will never know we're there. Mr. Lonely then goes to breakfast in the canteen. He can see the change in the menu, see the food freshly prepared, but he believes it to be just another anomaly. He shuffles in there in a bathrobe, or just his birthday suit, in full view of everyone, but seeing no one. We watch as he reads the menu, sighs deeply, and slowly takes his breakfast to eat. He trudges through his days, searching room after seemingly empty room, looking half-heartedly for some clue, anything to help him. But he never finds what he's after. I've tried, to get through to him. I've brought him items, prepared his trays ahead of time. But he doesn't see them. Or worse, he does see them and proceeds to write in his journal that he's going crazy from the isolation. Every day, he searches and searches for a way back to us all. And it always escapes him. And then there are the moments where he breaks down completely, sobbing uncontrollably in a world that no longer holds any meaning for him. He cries out names of people he believes he's lost, that he misses. And all I can do is watch from the sidelines, wishing I could ease it all for him. The peace that I wanted to feel at a quiet assignment disappears entirely, replaced by a sudden pang of empathy that is quickly squashed by the realization of my own loneliness. Because I am alone, and that thought scares me now. My parents are distant, just a message that I send every month or so, and their faces have already started to fade in my mind. My only friends are books, and even here, surrounded by people, there isn't one of them that I actually know. If I died, if I were to quietly disappear, I don't think anyone would actually bat an eye. I am a ghost to Mr. Lonely, haunting the edges of his existence, watching but unable to reach out to comfort. I float down the halls, following in his footsteps as he explores his empty sight. The people we pass ignore us. Do they even see what we're doing? Who we are with? Or am I just as invisible as Mr. Lonely believes he is? The lines between reality and illusion are not as concrete as they used to be. Is he truly here? Am I? Or am I just another figment of his isolated, shattered psyche? I have no connection to the outside world. Do I even exist beyond these walls? The uncertainty gnaws at me. Who even am I, past the books, and the space, and the silence? Perhaps I never had an identity to begin with. It's odd. I haven't lost myself, because I never had a self to begin with. It's so easy to cover up that heavy feeling of ennui, that feeling that you are nobody, filled with other people's voices and stories, but nothing of your own inside. Can you die if you were never truly alive? Can you suffer if you're not real? And yet, despite the creeping dread that coils around my heart, I can't tear myself away. There's a strange comfort in our shared isolation, in the silent camaraderie that binds us together, even as we are so completely alone. I can't leave him to suffer this delusion without me here, though neither of us can truly reach the other. But as the days stretch into weeks, and the weeks bleed into months. Even that small comfort of kinship is disappearing. My footsteps echo hollowly in the corridors. The speech I do hear is muted, and the faces of my colleagues blur together, their voices fading into a distant murmur. I cannot leave him. He is so entirely alone, and so am I. There is no need for you to intervene. I'm not even sure that you can. This is not an incident, per se. Just a quiet word from a silent sentinel in his empty world, bearing witness to unending, unconsolable torment. Wow. That hits home. Let me check the database. It's as I thought. Despite her requests, Ms. Mora was reassigned away from SCP-451. All reports say that she's recovering, at least. She's actually doing well. Apparently, she's throwing herself into the social side of life. Her psych reports state that she's picked up a gym membership, and she's even attending a book club weekly now. They're continuing to monitor her, but it seems she's made a full recovery since this incident. It was determined that this occurred due to her own mental state and psychological history, and not from a hitherto unknown anomalous property of SCP-451. As for him, Mr. Lonely, he has not made the same recovery. Reports suggest that he is still oblivious to others. Looking at his file, he used to be a Foundation agent. He served honorably and well for years, until he attempted to retrieve an unknown artifact at Site-19. I do not have security access to see what exactly he was trying to retrieve, but it looks like he was declared MIA and then reappeared 1 month later with his new changes in perception. God. The very thought that you can become anomalous just by working here. What that can do to you. Yeah, I'm sure it's not comparable, but I can relate to that sort of isolation in some small way. This office is empty. Dr. Sterling was hardly a comfort, and Niall is still... You know, one thing in Ms. Mora's report that hits home for me more than anything else is the lack of connection to anything outside the Foundation. I was told that I have none, that I was alone when I first signed up here. I have no way of knowing if that's true, or if there is someone out there who actually remembers me from before. It's lonely, the not knowing, the never leaving. Each day, exactly the same. Wake up, eat, work, eat, sleep. It's impossible to know what connections I might have lost. I feel even worse than I did before. It's so hard to explain why exactly. Nauseous is the best term I have for it, but that barely scratches the surface. It's like... Like each report is filled with this energy that... Hello?
There we go. Nice and easy.
I can walk just fine, let go of my arm.
Sure, you can walk now. It's been less than an hour. You can't fault me for still being worried.
I'm fine, really.
Suit yourself. I'll let go.
Are you two alright? You look like you've seen a ghost.
I think we're alright. It's all a bit of a blur, honestly.
Oh my... Is that blood?
It isn't ours, I think. Mary, you're sure you weren't injured?
What? Oh, no, I don't think I was. What about you?
Who cares about me? I came in from the sidelines. You were in the middle of it.
I'm fine. Oh, we haven't met yet, have we? I'm Merriweather.
Oh, we're gonna just have a calm introduction after all that. Look, Merriweather, Scott, Merriweather. Now we're all up to speed. Scott, we need to make a report. Quickly now, while it's fresh in our minds.
Hold on now, Nye. There's really no hurry. I think we all need to just take a breath.
I'm breathing, but we must report right after the incident. Everyone knows this.
And we are. That's why we're here. But just give me a moment, alright? Please, I just need a moment to think and to breathe.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just keyed up after what happened. I was worried. Worried that my timely and heroic rescue wouldn't work and...
I know.
Look, I don't mean to interrupt or anything, but I'm very lost and very concerned by the blood. What's happening?
May I, Mary?
Go ahead.
There was an incident.
A containment breach?
Not exactly, but we'd like to make a report.
Oh, I can find the official form.
No. I don't want to write about it. How would that even work? We pass the pen back and forth? Or do we each write our own half of the tale? Look, we're here, aren't we? Just let me tell the story. I mean, let us tell it. If you're feeling up to it, Mary.
Yes. I'd rather you begin it, though. I'm still processing.
Of course. Let's see, I was...
Hold on. Just a moment, please. If we're making an official verbal report, let me at least title it. And we should start a new recording.
Right you are. Even in times of duress, we're all still professionals here.
Vault Veritas SCP Files is inspired by the SCP Foundation. Isolation is based on SCP-451 by Flaw from the SCP Wiki located at scpwiki.com/SCP-451. It is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike 3.0 unported license. This episode featured Cody W. as Merriweather Parker, D.R. Thompson as Niall Connors, and Justin Gellner as Scott Anderson. It was written and edited by Leola Angel. We welcome comments. Please email us at vaultveritas@gmail.com. Join our Discord channel using the link in the episode description. Or if you'd like, visit our Patreon, listed as Vault Veritas SCP Files. Thanks for listening.